I said, what day is it? What is going on, streamers? Welcome to the FPVNoobTube Day.
They didn't hear none of that, Josh. We were whooping.
That's awesome. Oh, man. So Prototype thinks it's the way he wins a Caddx. We'll have to see how that goes.
Perfect time to light that cigarette.
What's that?
Perfect time to light that cigarette.
Is there ever not a perfect time?
No. Just seeing him smoking makes me want one.
Yeah, not me. I don't indulge enough in, I guess, all the simple pleasures. Usually a little wank session's enough to keep me going.
Weeds, Prototype, Indigo. What up, dogs?
All right, what is going on with
Mr. D?
My chat's not keeping up.
Oh, no?
No.
Bad.
I'm going to log back out and on this thing and go back in. Maybe that's what it is.
Hmm. And in the meantime, I've got the Caddx Death Rattle going in the background.
I heard that. I've got about 40 semi-tracks on either side of me, all revving their engines.
Oh, yeah.
That's all right. You know what? It's not as noticeable when we're in here chatting, just when it's, when we're sitting here staring at each other in the silence.
Oh, yeah. I love staring.
I really like the 3-up view, but every time I go to shift, I go the wrong way because the camera's reversed.
Yes.
Drives me bonkers.
My hat says the right thing, see? Unlike some of my earlier videos. Wah, wah.
What else would it say?
No. Chuck, I was telling Chuck, for the longest time, I was getting subscribers and viewers would say, mirrored. Your videos are mirrored. Why? And I had no idea what they were talking about. And then I would just watch my last video with Chris, and you could see my camera had a setting turned on where it did not mirror the image on the front camera. So all the words in all my videos were backwards.
Right. So we either have a really good mirror orientation and know which way we're going, or we can read the screen, but not both.
Yeah, exactly.
I just turn my head one way and then I'm like, okay, that's the way I want to go.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's just opposite. That's all. Opposite.
Probably what fish feel like inside of a fish tank.
Well, at least the writing is read correctly for our viewers. That's the main thing. That's why we're doing this. So it doesn't say, let's see,
And I just happened to notice that all of us, well, Chuck and I both are typing as the FPVNoobTube tonight, so this will be fun.
Oh.
Well, good deal. Guys, we had some really interesting discussions this week, mostly revolving around quality budget gear. So I don't know about you guys, but I think this year has really been a year for budget drone gear.
Wow. Pick a subject I don't really know anything about at all.
I know if we were talking about self-immolating parts, you'd be first in line, but
that's because I know metal.
There you go. That is the most metal thing anybody will fly, no doubt. Yeah, Budget D. This is actually Budget D. Good Lord. Correct, Mr. ED. And for anybody who's wondering, I'm going to go ahead and spill his beans. Mr. ED is actually a really, really cool play on his name, his actual name. He goes by, his name is Brian Reedy. And so if you were being polite, say he was your teacher, he would be Mr. Reedy. Mr. ED.
No, I'm sticking with my initial thought because that's way better.
I know, right? It's kind of like Where's Waldo? The Spencer's edition.
I love it. It's a play on words.
Yeah. Like butt plug. But
Fun.
While we were out there, I got to tell you, I know, mind's blown, but I'll tell you, I had a real nostalgic moment because Mystery D was still flying an original, and I'm talking OG Wizard. And I was having some problems that day. It's like the story of my life for the last 2 weeks. And he's like, I would love it if you flew my drone for a pack. And I was like, nah, I won't do that. And then I was like, oh, what the hell? Let me see it. Boy.
John, what's up, brother?
That was perspective.
Yeah, but what you didn't hear, John, is that there's a built-in rape whistle.
So when you pass gas, instead of going, it'll go.
Oh, God. What's up, Jeremy?
But yeah, no, that was really cool because I'll tell you, to go from 2750 kV motors to go back to 2300 kV, on top of going from motors with a lot of power back to motors without a lot of power, it was very interesting. I was throwing that throttle stick all the way up and going, where's the ass?
You know, I actually saw somebody on the FPVNoobTube Facebook group, which if y'all aren't a part of, John, you need to go ahead and join that.
John,
there was a kid there.
Facebook.
There was a kid in there. He put up a post of his Wizard had just a crushed in top plate. And he's like, I've hit an FPV milestone. I'm like, I'm so proud of you.
Yep.
Busted your whiz.
Well, you know, anybody who goes out and for their first drone buys an RTF or even a BNF, but you know, the idea is you buy this thing ready to roll. Usually they're not super expensive. They're not anything that's going to break the bank per se, in performance or the wallet. Not saying that $120 isn't a lot of money, but yeah, man, until you really plant that first one, you know, you're still floating out there in novice territory. Now you're no longer going to be a novice. You are going to be forced to get another frame. Inevitably, a few things are going to get changed out. Your whole world is getting ready to start changing, and it's not going to stop for a while.
Yeah, I mean, how many FPV pilots out there really start out with buying a quad that's all put together and just continue to keep flying it, never break it, and never have to work on it at all? Anybody? Chirp,
Yeah,
chirp,
right?
chirp, chirp.
Hey, man, even you've been impressing me lately. Just meaning the willingness to get to a point where you're just lobbing the thing through the air to see what happens. You know, because that's the way we all start out. You know, you start out the day and you're like, except Chuck. You know what? Let me get these first pack or two out of the way. And then you're like, oh, yeah, let me really put this place to the test. And then you get to a place where you're like, fuck it. Let's see what happens. That's what you haven't had until the last week or two.
Oh yeah, I'm glad to finally see Eric, you know, break out of his little shell of being scared to just fuck all his gear up in one session, you know. Once you get past that little milestone, man, it just opens up all kinds of new stuff.
And I was looking at some footage.
Go ahead, Eric.
I was looking at some footage, and even in the goggles, you know, I used to blast above the trees, and then I'd look down and be like, no. And I'd bail, and I'd just go somewhere else. But this time I actually, like, shot up, looked down, and was like, I'm just going for it, and just plunged it down through the canopies and just squeezing my butt cheeks the whole time. But I made it.
Yeah,
the sick gap. Is the sick gap the last place we were at?
What's that?
Well, so Vampire said Eric did the sick gap. Is the sick gap the last place we were at?
Yeah, the sick gap's the one that took out 3 of my motors.
Yeah, okay. You know what's funny is that area really isn't that bad. I think it's just the way everything worked out. I mean, Chuck, if you could have seen it, because I saw Eric start playing in the area, so of course I grabbed my camera and did the fat man shuffle over there. No sooner do I get my camera on it and go like this and start pointing it up, and this bitch comes and like slams into the side of the wall. His drone turns into an angry Tasmanian devil of terror, and then I'm doing the fat man shuffle the other way, like, don't hit me, don't hit me.
And I lost the high def footage of the crash, but I was able to recover off the DVR. So actually, I actually surprised myself. I actually hit the gap twice, and the second time I dove down through the gap, when I came back up to kind of like hug the sidewall, my arm hit. The arm hit the wall, and that spun it into a crazy Faduga fuck.
From my angle, it was a good thing I had brown pants on.
I was thinking about tree gap dives the other day, and I was thinking back, like, hey, like not even a year ago, I'd pop up above some trees and look down. I see something that might be something, and dude, it was just daunting as all hell just to commit. And I mean, I could go up through gaps, I could go sideways through gaps, backwards through gaps, but doing that tree dive was always daunting for some reason until suddenly it just wasn't.
And I think the more I actually do it and I don't end up completely destroying my quad, it gives you that little bit of confidence to be like, okay, I can do that again.
There's almost everyone. I'll tell you what, let me check my phone and make sure a Joseph Ford isn't trying to get a hold of me. Of course, I don't see any texts or anything. Nope, that would be a negatory.
Hey, double A.
All right. But yeah, this brings us to the point, where, and Eric, you made some really good assertions the other night as we got pretty heated. So this week it was like one night, because we have like this secret room in the shadows where all the noobs hang out. And yeah, right, put that one together. And as we're all in there just chatting away and having a time, frames come up. And then we start talking about what frame is better and what does budget mean, so on and so forth. And then we got into budget motors and started talking about, well, which motors were better. And because, this year, especially the last couple months, motors were the last real value, quality, budget thing that we're missing from the equation. With everything else, there was already pretty good value for the dollar. You knew what to expect, what you were getting for your money. But motors were one where if you spent any less than about $15 on a motor, you were getting complete junk. And now, just in the last, 4 weeks, 6 weeks, probably 4 weeks, we've seen 3 companies come out with budget motors under $15 that sport a lot of premium motor features.
Absolutely. I am still blown away right now at these Emax Ecos right now. I just can't believe they were able to create a motor that's double anodized with 9mm EZO bearings, hardened steel shaft, and they look great, by the way. For they're $11.99 is your standard price, but you can actually get them even cheaper if you buy multiple ones on Banggood. That's not a plug, by the way. If you go to Banggood, you can actually buy them even cheaper for around, Lewis said, I think $10.33 a motor.
Now, I'm curious how well they're going to hold up to a good banging, though. And what I mean is, you've been on this RSK bandwagon for a while, more than anything because of price. You did get good bearings. They were a little small. That's what she said. But one of the things you discovered was that 7075 aluminum. It's a lot softer than 7076.
It is.
And when I looked at what those eco motors are made of, give one guess.
The same 775?
You got it, 7075.
But
now, that's not to say they're bad. That's just saying in some cases you get what you pay for.
Well, hey,
right.
Speaking of that, though, check out what the comment from Matt Fever that I put on the screen right now.
Oh, nice.
On 6S, that is with a budget motor. I mean, I run strictly 6S, and I would kind of be frightened to try budget motors the way I run my 6Ss.
Yeah. Hey, look at Ed. That's awesome, Ed. Thank you so much, brother, for super chat there. That's great. This right here, they just came out with a 2207 as well. So now they've got a 6S version, they got a 2207, and then I got the 2306. So they're really getting diverse here in their sizes and their KVs. And I was actually surprised that they are double anodized. So I think that may help with the durability, because I don't think the RCXs were double anodized, Josh, were they?
No. In fact, I don't know that they were anodized at all.
Right. And what really kind of surprised me here with this is if you look underneath, I don't know if my camera's picking it up, but they added some kind of like a clear, I don't know if it's like a silicone or an epoxy, but they've completely covered all these windings underneath with this epoxy to just give you another barrier between your.
Oh, I can barely make that out.
Yeah,
I see that.
Between your screw head and those wires. On a budget motor, to me, that's extremely rare.
Okay, the only thing that crosses my mind is a concern. Obviously, for construction, for rigidity and durability, that's probably a good thing. But those windings hold a lot of heat, and I wonder what that's going to do for heat dissipation.
Yeah, the good news is, I mean, they are open bottom, so that's going to give you airflow. And then the top is really just the spoke design, which is still going to promote a decent amount of airflow. But when I turn these, you know how some motors feel kind of notchy? These feel just incredibly smooth. I've never felt motors that felt just incredibly smooth like this with like no notchiness.
Well, do me a favor, is look at some of your other motors and compare the gap in between the magnet and the stator, and the gaps in between the magnets themselves.
Yeah.
And of course, the strength has something to do with it as well.
So Weeds asks a good question for anybody that doesn't know. Anodization is essentially an oxidation on the exterior of aluminum. And what it does, by building up that oxide layer, it builds a hard layer. It's almost like hardening steel, where you take the outside and you really make it a lot stronger. Now, it has the double whammy that it can make it a little brittle, depending on if the anodization is done properly or not. But anodization is something you definitely want to look for. Now, in that, you also have the different grades of aluminum, 7075 typically, or 7076, with the 7076 being a harder alloy. So those are things you want to look for when choosing a motor. If it's something that's going to be a light flyer and it is going to be something that you're not banging up a whole lot, then you're probably okay with a softer, like say a long range quad, right? Then you're probably okay with a softer alloy. But if it's going to be something that you're banging around and bashing, you're going to want a harder alloy.
Yeah, and also what Jeremy said right there is very true. And Jeremy knows quite a bit about this because the man builds cars for a living. So he's dealing with that kind of stuff all day long.
Yep, but for aluminum, that surface treating is very important for how much it's going to hold up. Eric, I was just checking to see if the echo I was getting was you, and I think it is.
Yeah, I've got my AC just kicked on, so I just turned it off. Hopefully that will help with that.
Okay.
Okay, it just kicked off. So is that any better?
Well, it's when I'm talking, I'm getting chatter. I can hear myself talking in the background. We'll see. I'll keep an eye on it. It's not like terrible. It's just noticeable. So,
how about now? Any better now?
I'll let you know in a second.
Okay.
But these are all things to look for. Now, one of the bigger things, even more than that stuff to me, is the bearings. And this is the first thing a motor manufacturer will typically skimp on when they start making budget motors. And it is the number one thing that you can't just go to eBay, buy more of, and get cheap. And try to buy a budget motor and make it high end. Man, in fact, if you try to buy good quality bearings by themselves, you pay more for them than you would pay if you just bought good motors. Have you guys noticed that?
Actually, because I used to be a skateboarder, and I ran into this problem a lot because I was a downhill guy, and so I loved speed. And so I kept new bearings all the time. So you got to buy them in bulk to get any kind of good price.
Yep.
You like speed, Chuck? I never would have thought that.
You've never been behind Swifty when he's hauling ass up to Chicago?
What really just blows my mind, Josh, is the fact that these are $11.99. I'm sorry, $10.33 at the cheapest. Okay.
How many
Now
do you have to buy to hit that price point?
I think if you just buy a full set, if you just buy 4, yeah.
Okay.
The thing is, at $10.33 with EZO bearings, the double anodization, plus the little bit of whatever they put underneath it here to protect the wires. I mean, you're in DYS Sam Gook territory now with the price, and getting a lot more value.
Right. And that's exactly why this became such an interesting topic to me, because you always had your Racer Star, the utter shit that was out there. And even that you couldn't get for these bargain basement prices you're seeing now. But now when you buy utter shit, you're paying utter shit prices too. But now in the $10 to $12, I'll say the sub $15 range, we've got motors that are sporting what used to be premium features. Usually you had to pay $20+ per motor to get that. So it's just really cool to be looking around right now and see that, because the 3 that I was talking about earlier, by the way, for anybody who doesn't know, you have iFlight that came out with their Sing E motors. Before them, you have Emax that came out with the Ecos. And now Pyrodrone just released the Hyperlight E motors. And they're all coming in at right around $13.99 per motor.
Now I'm really curious to see how you need to get those Zings installed, Josh, because I know Chris has done it, but I don't think he's bashed them about any of it yet. I want to see the durability on them, because if anybody has seen me fly, I break all the things, whether it be windows, my quads, my motors, whatever. So I mean, I would buy one of those motors if I thought it could stand up to the abuse that I put out.
Right. Well, I won't hesitate to put them through the ringer. I bought 5, and I'll be putting a whole nother frame together here soon. Something a little more racing oriented on the lighter side. Just because I finally killed my X-Hover build the other day, completely destroyed it. But once I do, we'll be going to a fun fly. I know, right? Not like on that level, but then again, those are Fisher Price motors. So
that's what I'm scared of.
This should never happen.
Like that.
This should never happen. Look at that.
You say it should never happen, but remember what you bought at the time you bought them.
And to be honest with you, these Ecos. Say that again, Josh. I missed it.
I'm sorry. I was just saying, remember what you bought at the time you bought them. That was when really that $13 or whatever was really bottom basement. And what you were getting for that was something Chinese manufactured, not exactly known for the quality, but you knew that you were getting, for the money, really good stuff.
Yes. Good bearings, decent shafts. I mean, they fly amazing. I have no issue with the way they fly. It's strictly durability. That's it.
But that's to speak to something, because one of the things I was afraid of after running those Sam Gook motors for about 6 months, I was afraid of running into things with them. Something I have completely lost the fear of with those Sing motors. I have gouges in my belts where they have run into like the corners of walls and things. Not
Same
a
here.
bend, nothing imbalanced. They just keep going. And that's what I don't know that the E-motors will stand up to.
Something about that curved bell might be the key with that, and that's why I went ahead and got some of those Zings, because that curved bell to me made sense in my brain, to where if you have a beveled, rounded bell that sticks out further, and it gets a nice hard impact, it should not really pinch itself as easy as a non-curved bell. It should be stronger in theory.
we were actually talking about this last time around, at some point. Actually, I think it was a private chat. I don't even remember. I'm retarded. But that curved bell will allow it to be a glancing blow 9 times out of 10 instead of a direct impact.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, it also has a little bit more material around the middle where the impacts are more likely to take place, and a little bit less around, the top and bottom of the bell where there's likely to be less impact, which helps even out the weight so that you don't end up with a heavier motor, because they're not super heavy.
They are maybe a gram or 2 heavier than some of the other equivalent motors out there, but well worth it. And
no question.
If you're freestyle, who cares?
Yeah.
One thing I'm noticing immediately about the difference in the Emax Ecos and the RCX, if you look at the magnet size on the RCX, they are a lot thicker. And if you look at the Emax, look how thin the magnets are on the Emax, and they are, it appears to be like wider. The magnets are like wider. If that makes any sense? But
yeah,
when I
and some of that contributes to what you were noticing about the smoothness. Everybody's first thought is, I need the strongest magnets, and they got to be really thick. And you don't realize what you're getting with that notchiness are oscillations and vibrations.
That would be Brother Hobby.
These are very notchy. The RCXs are notchy. And you felt them, Josh, just spinning them. You can feel the notchiness. With these, it just feels like just smoothness.
Look, like 2 years ago, 18 months ago, everybody started, the motor technology started ramping up, and we had manufacturers and distributors really pushing to get powerful motors. And in order to do that, you do need the stronger electronics and the stronger magnets. And everybody, without knowing what the hell they were talking about, was going, oh, it's so notchy. Oh, so notchy. And then everybody's running out and buying notchy motors.
I remember.
Everybody's running around going, well, I get all these mid-throttle oscillations, and I don't know where they're coming from. They were coming from the fact that the motors were responding that quickly to all the inputs. The motors were essentially fighting themselves. Now, while all this was going on, you had one guy that I can think of, and only one, and that was Steele, who was putting out motors that, as he was prototyping, actually requested that they use weaker magnets in the next bells that they sent him because he wanted them even smoother.
He was pretty much the first one to start doing that with the bigger motors.
And then people started catching on to what was happening and looking at a little bit of science, and they're going, oh, well, maybe we don't need it to be super notchy. No, you don't. You latch on to these things that don't mean anything or don't mean what you think they mean, just in an attempt to sound like you know what the heck you're talking about, and you shoot yourself in the foot for it. But
yep, I know what you mean.
It'll be interesting. I mean, Chris has really been blown away with it.
And, curiosity has just killed me. And, I've always wondered to myself, there's so many other avenues of FPV other than Betaflight. And it's always just been intriguing to me. Well, how is KISS different? Well, how is Flight 1 different? And how are these things so different? Wouldn't it be nice just to be able to try them all and pick your favorite, so to speak?
Yeah, well, it does to a degree. I mean, some of us are happy with what we have, and we're not just hunting for the next best thing. That's me.
There's a difference.
Hold on. Trying things out either. He found what he likes, and he just kind of sticks with it.
All right, hold on. I'm gonna correct you on that one for me personally. I'm very, very happy with what I'm running. This is purely my curiosity. I wonder what it feels like. Not I wonder if it's better. It's just strictly, I want to know what it feels like. What is the experience like?
Yeah, but you talked about some of the things you're looking for in it too. For instance, what's one of the things, I'm just going to say it, one of the things you said you don't really care for is tuning. Seems like there's a lot to it. Seems like a lot to wrap your head around. Not really interested in spending a bunch of time trying to invest in the knowledge. And that's one of the things you're hoping to get from Flight One. In 1 second, Chuck, is the ability just to plug everything in and run with it.
Oh, I was like, that's me.
There's a lot of people in that boat.
Yeah, I mean, I love Betaflight, and I love the user interface. For me, it's not difficult to set everything up as far as UARTs and getting the controllers all set up and the receivers and all that. That stuff doesn't bother me. I've done it so many times now, it's almost like just second nature, you know, if that makes any sense. But when it comes to tuning, I've just never really dove in, and I've never really gotten into it. And why do I need to when I have someone wonderful like Josh who's got the magic unicorn fairy dust tune that is going to hopefully work one day for all Betaflight quads?
Hey, I'll tell you something right now. There ain't no magic fairy dust. That motherfucker next to me has spent countless hours going over ridiculous amounts of information, watching videos about tuning that you need a goddamn college degree in physics to fucking understand, and mathematics.
Oh,
and
I know.
He's simplified it down to the tuning for dummies.
Yeah.
Tried to.
That's your thumbnail on the next one you do, by the way, Josh, is the yellow and black book cover.
With the guy. Yep.
I'd buy that for $1.
But, you know, I really enjoy that part of it. If I could get drones with the parts that I want and then built with the quality that I want, but I didn't actually have to build it, I would do it. I feel like I'm just fine with building, you know? I'm just as good as the next. Maybe better than some. But it's not something that I'm like, oh boy, I can't wait to sit here at this bench for 3 hours over my soldering iron. Like, I just can't get excited about that.
See, and I'm different. I actually enjoy building something from scratch and installing all the components and planning and preparing out how I'm going to build it, and what things I'm going to do, and placement. And I actually enjoy that part of it a lot, actually. The building part I like.
Likewise.
See? But to give me a drone that maybe I don't know much about the way all the components play together and be like, now figure out how to make that thing fly like a drone. Okay, give me a couple days. You know? I don't know. It's just, that's the part that really brings me, that really brings me a lot of joy. It's just sitting and working through that. And to me, it sounds just as sadistic as guys that like sitting over breathing, you know, the rosin fumes all day.
Right.
Yeah. And that is definitely that's your thing, man. You are the tuner.
And Vampire, I got to address this, bro. You're hanging out with Cricket and shit. You're just going to end up getting Flight 1 anyway, so shut up, bro.
Now, which brings us to flight controllers. Now, when I say modern, something within the last 3 months, right? Chuck, what are you going to spend on a KISS flight controller? Something that's not
$70.
okay.
Like 65 to $70.
What are the Flight 1 flight controllers going for?
About
I was able to get 2 Revolt OSD lights for $70 for 2 of them.
Now, what is the light?
The light, okay, basically, it's I actually have one already out of the package just for the show. So basically, the light is the same board as the Revolt, but if you look real close, they have removed all of the pin headers that they had that used to just be plug and play, and they've left the ESC connector, but they've made it so now you can basically direct solder all of your components now versus plugging them in directly.
Oh, okay.
Because evidently they were having some issues with the plugs coming up depinned during hard impacts and stuff like that, and maybe catching fire from some other stuff I've heard.
Yeah, to really lock those in, they'd have to move, instead of just the friction fit JSTs or whatever they call those, They'd have to move to the ones like TBS uses where it actually like clicks in.
Yeah. You know what? I actually use a plug-and-play cord for 2 of my quads to plug the ESC into the FC, and I can't say that I've ever had a problem.
Same thing with my Dow RC engine. It plugs in with a ribbon cable, and I've never had an issue out of it. And Josh has crashed the shit out of my reverb.
Right under the bus. Yes, I have. What's going on, J-Bo? Yeah, okay, well, that was interesting because, you know, I generally pay about $32. So, and I don't know that you can get many. I'm sure you can get some for less than that. I would really start to get worried about the quality of the components.
Yeah. That's one thing, you know, when I got started in building, the one thing that I knew that I wasn't going to skimp out on was the parts that are inside the frame, because they're going to be less susceptible, I feel like anyway, to getting, you know, whacked by a brick wall or whatever. So I always thought in my mind, well, if I get good flight controller and good ESC, but maybe skimp out a little bit on the motors and maybe, you know, some of the other parts that tend to get whacked a lot, antennas, stuff like that, you know, maybe that's where I would save. But, and now look at me. Now I'm just like, nope, gotta get semi-premium motors now too.
Yeah, but you definitely see the difference in the way they hold up. And that's where you're actually saving money in the long run. You can trick yourself into thinking you're saving money by buying dog turds, but if you're buying twice, you know, 2 or 3 times as many dog turds for half the price, you do that math.
I've gone through 8 motors in a span of 3 months. All damaged.
And to be honest, being on the opposite side of this conversation, a person who spends exorbitant amounts of shit on his parts, I don't mind paying double for my flight controller. That's like the one component in all my gear that I've never had a problem with. Not one. Never had a tuning problem. Never had any kind of mechanical problems with it. That is not what lights on fire with KISS. It's the 4-in-1 ESCs.
Not just the 4-in-1s.
Now, I have had an issue with one flight controller, and it's my favorite flight controller. So, but I did have a Maytech F405, which is my personal favorite Betaflight F4. And I smacked into a tree coming down from a power loop, full throttle, as fast as I could go. And it was the weirdest thing because I crashed it, and then I was able to actually get it off the ground, fly it for about 2 seconds or 2 minutes, you know, just to fly it around and make sure it was okay. Yeah, really.
Sorry, Eric. We don't mean to keep covering you. It's just where you fell and everything.
Oh, no, that's fine. So anyway, I was able to fly it after the crash, and it flew just fine. Well, then I go to hook it into Betaflight to check on some things, and the gyro was not reading whatsoever. So then I go to plug power back in, and I got a dead flight controller. The gyro wouldn't even register. It wouldn't arm, wouldn't do anything because the gyro was just dead. But that's the only time I've ever had an issue with a flight controller actually crapping out on me.
And I have not had many since I moved to the Talon F7s. What's up, Chuck?
I was going to address Matt here, and isn't the Mamba 405 F405 based off of the Maytech?
I thought so.
I could be wrong, but because I don't deal with that stuff, but I think it is.
Now you got me wanting to look at it.
Because that F405 is referring to the chipset model on the processor, on the ARM unit.
Well, I know a lot of companies are actually basing their stuff off the Mate, like iFlight, their flight controllers and stuff are all based off of the Maytech stuff. It's
the only difference
rebranded.
The only difference I see, honestly, with the well, this is the Mamba F405 MK2 is what I have here in my hand. This is running the MPU 6000 gyro, and the Maytech F405 that I'm running is using the what's the other one? The one that can run the 32 kilohertz.
Gotcha.
I can't think of the name of it now. But there was another gyro
that everybody's given up on anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
No, do 4. I say Maytech just because I'm retarded. It is Motec.
Oh, Motec.
I just grew up with Maytag shit, so it's Maytag.
I mean, honestly, if I look at the flight controller itself, it does very, very closely resemble the F405. Just the way it's laid out, the pin layout.
And that's most of what you're going to notice with that stuff, because, you know, when you look at the list of Betaflight targets, really what you're doing is getting a target that means that the same pins on the processor have been mapped to the same functions. Because any of those pins can do just about anything if they're programmed to. So yeah, there could be a lot of carryover there. Well, yeah, that's interesting then, because let me see. Let's say let's even go high. Let's go to the high end of the budget. $14 a motor, throw in an extra one. You're at $50, $60, $8-ish dollars. We know you can get a frame for under $30. If you get a flight controller,
$25.
Oh, there you go. Then one of the last very big components is the ESCs. Now that's one where there is a lot of contention about the amount of money you can spend on ESCs, because, you know, it's not saying that you have to spend a lot to get good quality. I have a Racer Star BL Heli-S that just won't stop.
Hey,
I got for $35.
What was that ESC that Chris has been talking, that MD95 TSI has been talking about? Because that thing don't cost nothing. He's buying those for like $14 or something stupid, and he says he's gonna run 6S on them and all kinds of crazy shit.
The RDQ,
is he running? They're individual though, correct?
They're individual. RDQ is about $14 a piece.
Yeah,
that puts them at about $60, about $55.
Hey, in my book, that's budget as hell.
Yeah.
And the ESCs that I've been buying are $65 to $70.
Yeah.
But up until this one build, man, they just kept going. I missed it.
This is what I'll say about how I feel, because I actually have a good outlook on the budget versus premium, as well as you do, Josh. When I started out in the hobby, I was strictly budget. I wanted everything to be budget. And, you know, the way I look at it now, if I was going to fly in a nice soft patch of grass field every time I went out, yeah, I'd get budget everything. Why not? You're just going to land in the grass. But the moment where you start to push yourself and fly potential areas where there's going to be hard impacts, whether it be trees, concrete, buildings, whatever, that's when your whole thing of budget just rewinds, and you're like, okay, let me think about this real quick, because these parts and these frames, remember the Martian 2, man, I mean, that thing just took a crap. And we compared the carbon between some of the premium frames and the Martian 2, and you could see where they had skimped out on the carbon thickness.
Oh, they're utter crap. I went through about 30 of those damn frames when I went.
Exactly. The top
not
plate
just
for
the carbon thickness, it's how well they actually mix the resin in. You know, like if they're using the right proportions. It has to do with what pressure it's going into the autoclave. It has to do with a lot of things.
Right. And, you know, my point of it is, if you're going to fly in just the grass and you don't have a lot of money, then stick with budget. Stick with budget. You get in the air however you can afford to.
And I'm going to find a middle ground. I'm not going to say budget. I'm going to say you really need to be shopping for things that have high value.
Yeah.
You can find inexpensive parts that are reliable, but you're not going to get an inexpensive part that just appeared on the market that nobody has proven.
Hey, I can't tell you how insanely happy I was when Josh turned me on to the Zing motors, the regular Primo ones, and I was buying hype trains and $30 motors left and right, and he turned me on to these things, and I'm like, that is my value. That's my value motor, straight up. Because
yeah,
they might cost a little more, but that's the only freaking motor I'm ever going to change a bearing in ever because they lasted that long.
Here's the thing with those Zings, though. You're talking about the standard Sing motors. You know, those are a premium motor at less than premium price. And that's the thing with those things. That's why everybody who has tried them has latched onto them, because you are getting way more motor than T-Motor's putting out, way more than Rotor Riot selling their hype trains, way more than anything Lumineer's giving you for the money. You can easily spend $5, $6 more per motor and get a lot less for it than you get with the standard Sings. And let's be clear, just for clarity, I know that you can get standard Sing motors that cost $24 a piece. You're paying for that camo finish. Hold on a second, guys. Chuck, you have all kinds of static coming from somewhere. It's loud.
Yeah, I hear it too.
Is it gone?
It's static. It's like.
Oh, yep. You just made it worse. Whatever you did, you got worse.
What do you want me to do?
Well, you're okay. I was just letting you know in case there was something you could do.
Well, no, because I rolled. And that freaking reefer is right next to me.
Yeah. It's probably vibrating the shit out of your whole truck.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Well, this is what I really like so far. What I've seen from iFlight. That quad that they're getting ready to put out, or they just put out, that's a plug and play. You're talking about, this is the company that's going to give you high value parts at Eachine prices. They're going to wipe the floor with Eachine at these prices. They're offering a plug and play quadcopter that has Zing E motors, which we already know are very good value. We can't speak on durability yet, but we know they're good value.
Even with durability still in question, they are a good value, because
They're going to be better than Eachine.
You're getting the best bearings you can get. You're still getting 7076 machined aluminum. The only thing you're giving up is a titanium shaft for hardened steel, which gives you a little more weight and a little less strength. We're splitting hairs.
I bought the Wizard HV, I don't know, what, 6 months ago? I don't know, not even that long ago, and I paid $179 for it, with no 3D print on it whatsoever, other than the antennas, the antenna mounts. And they did give you, it did come with a GoPro, not TPU, but a GoPro case. But when you look at this iFlight and you look at the innovation, the fact they're using 3D print to actually control jello in the camera, on the FPV camera.
That's nothing.
I mean, no, but the fact that it comes with this plug and play quadcopter that's $179 to me is just, I mean, that's amazing. I mean, it's great for the hobby, because I can speak confidently and say, if somebody were to go out and buy that, from what I see anyway, the parts that I see and the way it's constructed, I would be ventured to say that they will get a way better experience than buying any Eachine plug and play.
You know, I wish that something like that was out when I started, because my damn Wizard was new at the time and cost like $300.
Which then inevitably, once you get through all this, you know, ESCs are one of the areas I refuse to skimp on. When I first started, I did have some $8 ESCs, had some $10 ESCs, and I'm going to tell you, every one of those times I had at least one ESC, just soldering everything up, trying to light it up on the bench, wouldn't run. Had one that actually lit on fire. The minute, and I went straight from like dog shit ESCs to I'm tired of this, and I started paying, you know, $75 for a 4-in-1. All that stuff went away. But I didn't just buy an expensive 4-in-1. I did research. And at the time, one of the best teams out there who were really putting the stuff through the ringer was the Pyro Flip team, and they were running AK-32s. So that's what I started buying. I still have One of those, because one of them it completely just poofed on me. But that was after over a year of running this thing really well. Now I'm running the AK-32 pins. They just keep going.
Huh.
And that's one of the areas, because if you think about what that thing is doing, I don't think you can get away most of the time with just, going to the low end of this budget.
Yes, and this is where a lot of people can learn, because okay, you just said yourself, you didn't just go out and just say, okay, I'm tired of this, I'm going to go buy a $100 ESC and that's going to be the end of it. Because listen up, people, there's parts out here that are premium price that aren't good value. That's the difference. You have to find something that is a premium or less than premium price, but it's a good value, because like Chris said with T-Motor, he's had a terrible experience with T-Motor, and I've heard of others that have had the same.
And that's personally one of the things you will almost never see me do, is run out and buy brand new to the market, nobody's, giving it a track record, hype train gear. I won't do it. I want somebody to run that thing, put it through the ringer, and tell me that it has stood up for them. And not somebody who's going around and doing circles around a bush in their backyard. I'm talking about somebody who's running that thing. That's why I like following the Pyro Flip racing team, because Serge's son, being a damn good racer and having a few of them, he'll go out there and just throw the throttle on a switch and run it around for 3 minutes. It'll come down, the battery will be on fire. This kid's got this thing spinning on the blacktop with no carbon on top, just to see if he can break an ESC. And then they will keep running that same ESC through shit. So, it's that idea, not that it has to be that extreme or that dramatic, but I want to buy things that are proven, that somebody else has shown that they're going to take everything that somebody can throw at them, and keeping in mind that I'm not going to be one of the harder runners, but I want what I pay for.
You know what? That is a fantastic segue to move on to the next piece of equipment. What do you think of cameras that don't cost $50-$60 a piece?
I know, I've been trying to get to that place, but I've been fighting for some voice time tonight. So
that's funny, because I haven't said shit.
But no, you're right. And so before we start this discussion, for anybody who's still in chat that wants an opportunity to win a Caddx Ratel, make sure that you have just put some sort of message in chat. It doesn't matter what, but if you're just lurking in the background, that's not going to be enough to win this. You're going to have to put something in there. So with that said, a camera is one of those things that I refuse to skimp onto. It's one of the things, from the time I met Eric, from the time I met Chris, from the time that I really got to experience a quality camera, was about the time that the Eagle came out. And I went straight from the Swift to the Eagle. The Swift, to me, I think it was just the lower resolution. It felt like it was a lot grainier in the picture. Maybe pixelated is what I'm looking for. But the Eagle smoothed a lot of that out, and it also had much, much better dynamic range.
Well, actually, I was going to say the Swift 2 actually, I think, performed better in harsher light conditions.
Okay.
But that's a property of the CCD.
Correct. Which the Eagle has been CMOS. And then they came out with the Eagle 2, which was also CMOS, but was a huge improvement over the Eagle.
Yeah.
My biggest problem I had with those was the PCB inside the housing shaking loose. And even after super gluing it to the back of the case and putting extra foam and double-sided tape and everything else, that sensor would still shake. I even found some of them where the lens themselves was shaking inside that housing for some reason.
That's the micro you're talking about, right?
No, the full size.
Oh, the full size.
So when RunCam came out with the Micro Eagle, I jumped on it because the case is epoxy to the PCB. There really aren't any moving parts on it other than the lens, which as long as you lock down. And man, I didn't have any problems. I ran that thing forever. Chuck will tell you I swore by it. And not until recently did I find an ample replacement that even costs less. And that was Ratel.
I was going to say, Josh even turned me onto the Eagle, the Micro Eagle. Now that was my first CMOS camera. I hated CMOS. I was like, CCD till I die, bitches. And I switched over to that, and then all of a sudden I bought 6 of them, and they're in all my rigs.
And at that price, why not?
And to this day, I think it's probably the second best camera on the market. Then
So
again, I have not tried Foxeer or any of that other shit. I've only run RunCam.
Right. And for a long time, that's all I ran too. But with the Caddx Ratel, you know, and I waited. I didn't jump right on this. I waited till a lot of people were like, well, hold on, there's something here. And especially when you consider it costs $20 per camera less than a RunCam. So after going in, I mean, it runs really good out of the box, really, really good. But after tweaking some of the settings, I've got that thing dialed in.
That's one thing I haven't done yet. And I go through cameras. I bash my quads face first into shit most of the time. So I have gone through a lot of cameras. And that, you know, being $20 less, that helps. But I still wouldn't have changed. But I found out that, you know, everybody knows the Micro Eagle 2, when you go from inside to outside, all you see is a white screen for almost a full second, if not a full second.
Until you adjust that gain.
And that is frightening as all freaking hell. And
Yep,
I found out the Ratel does not do that. Now, I haven't quite gotten to test it the way I really want to. Bandos, they come and they go, so it's hard to do it, you know. But that's why I switched over and I bought a Ratel.
Yeah,
well, I will say that
too, and I'm going to get more from my others. Sorry, Eric, go ahead.
Oh no, you're good. I was just going to say, if you do have a Micro Eagle 2 or a full size Eagle 2, and you are having that issue, I suggest go to Oscar Leong's page on the internet. Just search Oscar Leong. He's got some optimal settings that if you put on those Eagle 2s, it gets rid of a lot of that. He's got some settings.
I'll put that later, bro.
Yeah, I put it on my Eagle 2, and that's my favorite camera. I've actually tried the Foxeer Falcor, and I see the appeal. The picture is amazing. It looks so clear. It's so crystal, but it just doesn't have the dynamic range of the RunCams, of the CMOS sensors. It just doesn't.
Yeah, I still break them. It doesn't matter.
And I want to make a suggestion real quick, and then I'm going to shut up. Because I've been talking a lot. But it would be really cool if we could, and this is something we could talk about, you know, after the show also, but it'd be really cool if that's something we could try to implement in the NoobTube, is maybe like a parts list of, like, you know, recommended parts that each and every one of us has tried and had success with.
So
to almost get like a parts list for others that don't know anything.
So basically, you want to start an argument.
We didn't do enough of that the last 2 weeks.
Right?
Let's talk about props, guys.
Burn the place down. All right, before anybody gets carried away, inside of 1 minute, I am going to tell Nightbot to pick a random winner. So you have less than a minute to go ahead and make sure you are active in chat, and then we're going to pick one. All right?
Yep. Pay attention to that Nightbot.
Oh, go ahead.
Pay attention to that Nightbot, guys, because the Nightbot is going to tell you who's going to win.
That's right. We're going to let him pick. But yeah, this has been really, really great discussions. And it's something that kicks up once in a while. And it's not always worth rehashing every week. But this week, we had such good conversation about it that I noticed a trend to some of the answers that people were pushing. And I thought that it was definitely worth really talking about tonight, especially with what we've seen with the motors, again, recently being the primary pusher for me to want to talk about this.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, Josh usually thinks up the subjects for this because I'm like squirrel. So yeah, and Well, I get to find out. I find out what the subject is basically when you guys do. When I read the damn title of the frickin' of the stream, and I saw it and I was like, oh God, what the hell am I going to contribute to this? But I actually think it was really good having an opposing point of view from someone who only buys premium parts.
Yep. Congratulations, Sidewinder.
Sidewinder.
Hey, Sidewinder, didn't you say you were building one and you needed a camera? Didn't I read that a while ago?
Funny how things work out sometimes.
Right.
That's
Dwayne,
perfect.
what's up, big dog?
That's perfect.
Everybody say what up to y'all authority. Y'all motherfuckers need to be plotting.
What up, y'all?
What's up?
And if you don't know what plotting is, you better go check out his channel and his websites and whatnot and find out.
What day is it, Frank?
Hump day.
Bitches.
You guys, if you really enjoy this stream, in fact, if you guys have been enjoying this stream even more the last couple weeks, make sure you let us know. You know, we're using a new streaming platform here, and personally, I think it's working out great. Not only do we have it running Hump Day, but we've got it running MD95's Chop Shop, which make sure you tune into that when he's on. We're trying to get him to actually nail down a specific day to do it versus just kind of whenever, but we'll have to see because Chris is kind of a whatever guy. So not gonna stomp that one. That's what she said.
No.
You guys have also not been tormenting Chuck enough to get the next edition of the Noob Crew out. At this point, if he doesn't get it out soon, we're just going to have to run all the live streams like this, to give incentive for him to get that done.
It's coming.
Keep waiting.
I just got it, man. I just got footage.
I want to say one more thing on why I personally decided to buy the Emax Ecos, even though I had nobody had recommended to me or nothing like that. So the reason I went with those is strictly for the name of Emax. I don't think they will put out a product. I mean, I could be wrong. I don't think they put out a product that would completely tank and really bomb their name.
Well, no, but not everything that they've put out has been a home run, and that's the point. You can't – I don't care what you say, Eric. Emax is not a premium motor maker. Even the motors that they've put out that are premium priced are not keeping up with the other motors in that price range. I was really trying to give Vampire a little plug here, but looks like either my internet or my browser completely crapped out on me.
Yeah, the stream's loading.
Josh. Read that and remember it. Thank you, Echo B. Sorry I don't have a dildo on my head this time around.
Me too. Meaning, I'm sorry Chuck doesn't have a dildo on his head. All right, well, maybe my hotel internet is showing its ass. The last week or so, the last time we ran this, I had the luxury of running from home, so I had a much better internet at my disposal, but we'll try one of these other ones and see if it does any better. But
hey, while he's messing around,
while we're giving closing thoughts here.
Well, hey, I'm gonna put something out there. While he's messing around with this nonsense, trying to make it work, why don't you guys head over to our Twitter? Josh, what's it's just the FPVNoobTube, right? It's not the channel.
It is, but you're going to notice if you're on our Instagram that we have a lot of links pointing to the Twitter.
Okay, well, guys, go look at our Instagram, get hooked up on it, go to the Twitter, and what I want from you guys is I want pictures of you guys with the Noob logo somewhere. I don't care if it's a selfie of you watching us right now. I don't give a shit. Just get the Noob logo in there somewhere, and we'll highlight you on the next live stream.
Yeah, we're actually looking for all kinds of content now that you mention it, Chuck. And we're going to have some contests coming. I know that we started this year with what I thought were some pretty cool contests. I want to say we ran 2 of them, and then they kind of died off.
All the challenges.
It's just circumstance. But we're going to have some of that stuff coming, and we're going to be using the other social media platforms. So both to get notified and to compete or in the contest, you're going to have to be posting to those platforms.
And you know what? Strap your wiener right, guys. Because, I mean, hot dog's the shit.
Yeah, and you guys do really awesome giveaways too, which is really nice for the community, and I think it's great. I think it's a great thing.
Well, I appreciate that. You know, that's something that this channel is probably a little different from most, and that is all of the revenue that is brought in is turned right back to our viewers. We
100%.
don't do any of it for anything personally, for any reason. That's right down to the photo editing software that comes out of pocket. That's right down to what it costs for the postage and things. Like, all of that is paid for above and beyond by the Noob crew themselves as a little bit of love, giving additional love to you guys. But all of that other love, that money comes from ad revenue and super chats.
Yep.
And we flip 100% of it right back to you guys.
And I tell you what, I just got the latest payment from AdSense. So what I'm going to be looking to next, guys, is buying the biggest stack of stickers that I can possibly buy of the FPVNoobTube stickers. You guys have been yelling at us for a long, long time to get some of those going again. So I haven't started it yet. I just got the money, but that's coming as well.
I have a space on my wall just for that.
All right, and maybe the way you get them is to do that Twitter thing I was saying, huh?
Well, there's going to be some of that going around. So not only are we going to be getting stickers, once I get a hold of Vicky again, he has a few hundred more of those battery straps left over that we're going to take off of, we're going to purchase off of him so that we can use the stickers and the battery straps and giveaways. And then last, we're going to put together some T-shirt designs. We are probably going to sell them in very, very limited runs at cost to you guys for those of you that want some NoobTube swag. So even that we won't use to drive any of, our giveaways and things. Just as a thank you to the few people that get in before the others for being here with us and being noobs.
And we're gonna have a number of different designs that I actually already have made up. So
I love swag.
FP visioning. I always say that wrong. Yeah, brother, you missed it by about 5 minutes or so. Sidewinder FPV ended up walking home with that Ratel.
And he actually needed it too, right? Because he was having to build it and he hadn't gotten the camera yet.
I think that he was the one saying that, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Doing some grass trimming a little bit here.
And so we're always going to have more. We're going to keep them running as long as we have revenue to do so. Nothing big, but small things. Well, I don't know if you guys saw that sick inverted yaw spin he did a second ago, but that was pretty good.
I did. Who are we looking at here?
This is Reckless FPV, Curtis Reckless Welch.
Yeah, Reckless.
He looks really smooth on the sticks and very precise.
And he's a thumber. Ugh.
I would imagine he thumbed for his precision there. I mean, that's good.
So I turned it off because he was talking and it sounded funny with us talking over top of him. He's not bad. He's got some areas where he could definitely put a little bit of work just into it's mostly his transitions. He's got pretty good precision. He's definitely got a lot of good stick control. If he had a little bit better transition in between some of his moves and some of his, moving from location to location, he'd be real solid.
That's what I've been nagging myself on lately, actually.
Transitioning?
Yeah, because I don't have the flow because my transitions are always either choppy or I'm like squirrel. So
it's definitely one of the things that you almost have to become an opportunistic flyer to have good flow. Very rarely are you going to have a good circuit planned out. Usually on your best runs that have the good flow, it's just the way everything falls, and it's learning how to read in that moment.
Well, dude, a lot of the problem I think that I have is I'm always trying to do the craziest shit I can fucking find at any given spot. And so I get stuck on that. And so I'm like looking to pull off a trick instead of looking to flow around the whole area and make, you know, an uncut vid or something, you know?
Yeah, well, I mean, and some of that's just, you know, how do you say, kind of like self-realization, because I think we all go through that, you know, where it's a little bit of a chore just to stay in the air, and then you get to where you're pulling off simple tricks like snap flips and things and barrel rolls and power loops. And then you get to where it's like you start doing the more ballsy stuff, but if you're not careful, you try one ballsy thing wreck and then go for the next ballsy thing wreck and then go for the next ballsy thing wreck. And it's not as fun to watch as somebody who does standard tricks and can string them together versus, personally, I really admire the flow. With that said, your last video, I really like that. I wish there was more to do in the area, but it was a cool spot.
Very nice.
You have no idea, bro. That building that I dove in the very beginning of the video, there's like a twin building right next to it, right? Well, in between those buildings is like a huge depression, and it's deep, and it's all grass, and there's pillars and trees, and those buildings are a bank, so they have those, you know, the arches that you drive through teller things, like rows of them, dude. So, I mean, that place is probably one of the most epic office spots I've ever seen. I can't get there on a Sunday because I work Sunday, and if I don't get back there on a Saturday after banking hours, then, you know, it ain't going to happen because there's going to be people there.
I tell you what, that office spot up north too, I would love for you guys to see that has the underground the parking garage with the 3 different holes. That place looks sick. That's
something I haven't flown yet.
I've only flown it once, and I was not ballsy at all with it.
Base flight, open pilot.
Whoa! What are we talking about down here? Are we taking a back to the past here? Hey, real quick, if anybody in chat or even you guys, Chuck and Josh, know of anybody who's in need of a brand new FlySky transmitter and a FlySky receiver, let me know, or let Josh know, or Chuck know, because I really want to give this to somebody who needs it.
I was trying to think of who the hell it was that wanted to do that. It's fucking
Well, there you go. Yeah, so I've got it. It's basically brand new. Like, there's not even a scratch on it. It doesn't even look like he even flown it. The guy that donated it to my channel. So I'd like to donate it to somebody who needs it.
Yeah, it's easy to sit there and talk about all the better transmitters that are out there, but for what it is, it's not a bad transmitter.
No, and it'll get you in the game.
Yep.
That's how I got in the game. Came with my Wizard X220.
Well, for anybody interested, we're going to go ahead and open up the gangbang for a few minutes here. It's been a little while since we've done that. And, you know, we'll keep this running for a little bit longer and see if you guys want to chat about anything. And if we don't see anything, then we'll probably close it down in the next few minutes. But
oh, I forgot, man.
Blizzard's
sundown, isn't it?
Blizzard's got nothing.
What?
It's sundown, guys. Sundown. Shirts off after sundown. Come on now.
Chuck's embarrassed about his nipples.
No, I like having the floating head thing going.
It is pretty cool. I mean, everything disappears. Anymore, you don't even have chin. Oh, man, talk about nostalgia. If you guys want some nostalgia, go watch the very first episode of the Noob Crew and watch Awkward Chuck talk.
I went back and looked at that the other day.
He was like, I'm Charles Hoover, and I'll be your host for the Noob Crew.
Oh.
And then it cut to like the music, and now it's way more fluid. Chuck's like, yeah, fuck it, here it comes.
Well, fuck, bro, I hate, like, you know what? Every single person that's been featured on the Noob Crew has told me this. I hate being on talking to a camera. That's like the worst part about doing the whole thing is because they have to do a little self-interview, you know? So, and I was the same way. So that's like half the reason why I started doing it. I'm like, I have to get over this. So I'm going to be a host. I don't know. Seemed to work out, I guess.
You're very good with the camera now, Chuck. I think you're good enough to take that shirt off. So we got a little bit of nipple action there at least.
There we go.
There we go.
That's all you get. You gotta pay. You gotta pay for it more. You guys want me to take my damn shirt off? You better put in some super chats so we can grow that giveaway budget because we've been ripping away at it.
Come on, guys. Can we get $5 in super chat?
Is that what I'm worth?
Little
Is
plug
that what
for
I'm
you
worth?
here. He's giving away a new Radio Link AT9 on his Patreon next month. All you need to do is be a Patreon subscriber. $1 a month.
Nice.
$1 and up.
Go give Wheats $1, you cheap bastards.
Yeah. Go give E-Drone $5.
No, that's what
Come
I'm talking
on.
about. That's what I'm talking about right here. Right here.
Come on, guys.
That's a challenge we need to work on. I know that I said I was going to do it, but I gotta get the right spot. I know he'll tell you, oh, you can do it anywhere, but I really wanted to, I wanted to leave a mark, not necessarily physically.
Yeah, I know all about that.
So you guys would laugh. I roll up to, I was up in Mystery D's neighborhood last week. So I roll up there to a park. We only got to hang out for like 30 minutes before lightning and just the rain completely deluged from the sky, and it was nuts. But we get out, and he walks up to me and, puts his hand out, and I was like, whatever. And, of course, you see him. He's like, oh, you're a hugger.
Oh, yeah, you're a hugger, man. You're a big teddy bear.
Yeah, pretty much. But cool guy, real down to earth. I look forward to getting up there again with, shit that works. For that last video I posted, I wasn't even flying my normal drone. I was flying that racer beater thing I had because it's all I had flying.
Hey, Mystery D is still my favorite name in FPV right now.
Prototype FPV, $5 super chat. There it is.
Critique my last flight. He wants us to look up his last video.
All right.
He wants a plug. Give him a plug.
Give me 1 second here.
Holy cow, Blizzard FPV, $20. Whoa.
Shit, I'll give you some boobs
Chuck,
for that.
Shirt needs to come off now. $20. Come on now. You ain't that expensive.
Everybody's going to leave the stream now.
Come on, Josh. You got to show some nipple.
All right. Well, hold on. The whole $20 thing just completely took me by surprise.
Wow.
Nipple shit. Hold on to your pants, guys.
No. He's showing his mangina.
Shirts after sun,
Okay,
shirts off
everybody's
after
like,
sundown, baby.
Chuck him titties. I gave you titties, bro. That's all you get for 20. If you want more than that, bro, well, I mean, basically all you got to do is join our chat because I show my balls constantly.
So, Blizzard, if you were going to do a giveaway, what would you give away? Think about that for a hot minute. We'll be looking for the response. In the meantime, let's go ahead and get this shared here. Oh,
Hey, it's that far as FPV.
Look at this. Old Ed in here.
There we go. He came in the right way.
You old loony bastard.
I've been accused of worse.
Is there
All right.
such thing?
Here we go. Hopefully we get to watch it.
Right?
You might have to put that shit on like lowest resolution.
Well, it's not on lowest. It's on 720, but is it doing okay?
I like the logo.
It's kinda
I like
choppy.
the logo. That looks nice.
Okay, this guy's ripping it racing style.
It looks like an anime.
This is a live stream,
Crash
Yeah,
footy.
it's almost like a racing type freestyle almost.
right?
There's the freestyle. That's what we were waiting for.
He's actually reminded me of MD95 TSI practicing gates like he does around the trees all crazy.
And he's doing a very good job at slingshotting the drone. You can kind of see that where it almost looks like he's slingshotting the drone back and forth.
Oh, there's that hang time.
Yeah,
Nice hang time.
All right, prototype. You got to tell us what camera angle are we running here?
I'm gonna
guessing
guess
this is probably
35.
40 degrees.
I'm going with 35.
Because when he pulls back, you can tell that a lot of thrust is going behind him.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he was doing it right there. He's looking at the horizon, yet he's hauling ass forward.
Right. Okay, 60 on the GoPro.
Oh, wow.
Where's
Wow.
your, where's your
65 on the
FPV?
FPV cam, so he's cocked.
Damn, son. Well, you know what, prototype? I'm next time we take a gander at you, I'm gonna want to see some backwards flying, bro, because I'm at 35 degrees and I fly backwards like a motherfucker.
Now,
You guys missed
okay, how do you even do that, Chuck?
Practice. And
I mean, I know,
listen,
but if
practice
you're
and
flying
spare
backwards,
parts.
are you looking at the damn sky?
pretty much. The trick I've learned is to use landmarks to go under things. It's easiest to do inside, to be honest.
Okay, well, that makes sense, because I would lose complete track of where the hell I was at. I do that all the damn time anyway.
Hey, Blizzard, why don't you look on the main screen there? There's a message for you.
I feel like. Oh, go ahead, Josh.
No, you're good. I was going to say that's part of what's still rolling around in my head is Blizzard's like, I don't have anything in the air, but here's some money.
I tell you what Blizzard's missing. It's the only thing that if he were to add it to it, I think it would really step up his FPV. It's split S's. I've not seen a lot of split S's. But if he implements some split S's into his FPV flights, man, that would really spice it up.
I love the end your ending, bro.
Yes, very nice.
Now I noticed that
Very
I know that's the Cyclone FPV symbol right there. You have any affiliation with that, dude?
That could spark some interesting conversations.
Because I need to shut up.
Why? Why do you need to shut up, Chuck?
We'll just say we know a few people that have had relationship issues.
Get your top off.
Good
Get that top off.
We'll leave it there. He's
Mars.
okay.
Hey, we got Mars. He's from fucking down under, and I don't know why.
What's up, Mars?
Why am I talking like a New Yorker to an Aussie?
I'm freezing my ass off here for you people. My nipples are.
That's right.
Right.
That's right. It's winter down there. You're fucking.
Maybe we'll see if we can actually have a Mars conversation with just banners. We'll pretend that we're replying on Mars' behalf with banners.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, that's nice, Blizzard. That's a nice frame. I like the bandolero. That is a very nice frame.
Fuck you, Josh.
Make a flight blood. You said that. So what are y'all flying now? I know Adam is all about Flight 1 now,
Hey, real quick before we move on, I did want to say something about that video we just watched because he was asking for a critique. Dude, you got some sticks on you, bro. You're heading in the right direction. The thing I said, I'd like to see more backward stuff, especially since you're running that cam angle that's perfect for it. And I want to see some more challenging places to fly.
I would say pick up the fluidity. I'm going to piggyback off of what Eric said, but I'm going to expand on it. One of the things the Split S does is give you a way to change direction with a lot of fluid movement. You definitely, if speed is your thing and that 65 degrees is what you love, stick with it. Camera angle has no bearing on ability to pull off tricks and things. But work on that fluidity, transitioning from object to object, over top, down low, give a little yaw spin here and there. Like, just mix it up.
Well,
Yeah, I
hey,
really like the way he orbits the trees and kind of slings himself to the next one. I think he would do really good with like orbits. And like I said, if you implement some split S's in there, I really think you can tie it together and really step it up. And that's very constructive criticism, because I really did like the flight as a whole. I really liked it. I enjoyed it.
It was good. And look, I'm just being honest. You asked for critical, so that's what I'm going to give you. Yep. I felt myself wanting a little bit more, but I felt like he was always just about ready to give it to me, and then he didn't, which is why I say what I do. For me, flow's a big thing. Even if he wasn't flipping and spinning and stuff, just being able to transition from item to item with a little bit of randomness, meaning I don't just want to feel like he's flying the same level around a bunch of trees and things. Like, I want him to go high, go low underneath. But I like the speed aspect. That's something a lot of people, myself included, don't do much of, if any at all. And it's something that can really bring that octane to the experience.
I only run like in between 30 and 35 degrees angle, and somehow, I mean, I guess it's just the equipment I use. I mean, I haul ass.
At 35, I feel like I haul too much.
Yeah, I fly a very low up tilt.
I mean, you'll see a lot of the times when I'm trying to like be precise or have to try to go in slow that you're seeing all sky, because I'm using the bottom of the camera at 35 degrees.
Yeah, see, I like to be able to have a lot of control, and I feel like for me personally, when I up tilt my camera too much, I feel like the quad's basically flying me versus me flying the quad. So that's why I fly with low up tilt. But everybody has their own preferences.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I wasn't trying to speak to anything that was preference driven, just presentation driven. Look, I can fly a 65-degree up tilt. I can fly a no-degree up tilt. I'm going to tell you that I much prefer the 25, because for a long time, like last time I started playing with my camera tilt, and I said I was even getting bored with myself. I wasn't happy with anything. I was running at 20 degrees. I went from 20 up to 35, and I was having a lot of fun in open spaces or where I had more room to transition.
The plot thickens.
Is he still grounded?
And then I found myself that at 25, I can haul ass, but I can still pull off, all my rolls and things without feeling like they look weird. And I can fly as low as I need to in tighter quarters without ever having to change my camera angle.
Okay. I got a question for you, expert. Even though supposedly we're all noobs here, but that's hardly true. But okay, so maybe it's just an issue. So with me, is it just an issue of the camera? Because if I tilt it too high, yes, I do fly fast. And yes, camera angle has everything to do with speed, at least for me, as far as because in my brain, I'm always trying to level. You know what I mean? The higher the camera angle, when you level, you're pitched forward more. But when you try and slow down or whatever, now you're looking at sky. So is it the camera with a wider field of view, or what is it that enables you to fly fast with a low camera angle?
You do ideally want all right, so this is totally personal preference. I like a really wide field of view, even though I'm not flying, with that high of a camera tilt or anything, right? Bringing you back in, Eric.
Sorry, guys, hit the wrong button.
And I'm going to drop Mars out just because he's not having any luck with it.
Oh, gotcha.
Well, he just stayed black, and here and there I hear something weird. So he's still in here, and if I see his stream looks like it comes through, then I'll let him in. But anyway, my advice to you, Ed, if you want to pick up the speed a little, is don't feel like you have to go all the way all at once. Turn the camera to 35 degrees. And if after flying that for a couple days, you're like, I want a little bit more, turn it up to 40 degrees. And if you're like, okay, that's cool, but I think I can handle a little more, then turn it up to 45. But ease it up. Once you get beyond 45 degrees, that's where you're going to have that really hard time landing. Now, when you land, you don't land by coming in level and trying to put it down. You actually kind of just cyclone and whirlwind down and then disarm and hope for the best.
Well, there you go. That's what I've been screwing up on right there.
I would say agreed, and this also goes back to the comment you had on the screen there for a while, is that roll and yaw get a little funky, when you start doing that.
Yeah,
like Josh said, and if you go fly every other day, put your camera up just a couple of degrees every time you go fly, and you won't even have to think about it. You'll start doing what's necessary to make the GoPro and the camera angle work for you without even thinking about it. It'll just come natural. Your mind will adjust on its own instead of having to learn it.
So, okay, well, then my next question would be, the little HD cam I have is a piece of crap compared to what you guys are running. You're running sessions and stuff like that. But do y'all try and match your HD cam to your FPV camera angle or what?
I try to get close.
I have my GoPro actually angled slightly higher than my FPV cam usually.
I try to get close, and the reason I try to get close is because I feel like if it's close to the angle I'm running on my FPV camera, I can have more of an idea of what the GoPro footage is going to kind of look like once the flight's over.
Exactly. That's my point. Yeah.
But you don't have to.
The reason that
there's lots of people that fly with a big discrepancy in their angles, but me, I like to know that what I'm seeing in my FPV feed is what's framed in my GoPro.
Right.
I never go further than 5 degrees off, but doing that, it does. It's like a camera trick. It does some cool things when you're flying in places. I can't explain it any further than that. You just gotta try it and look at the footage compared to the DVR.
And also, if you go too low on your GoPro, you're going to have more props in shot as well. So keep that in mind.
Well, I mean, I think the GoPro automatically has a wider field of view anyway.
GoPro's running 155 degrees. A lot of FPV cameras seem to be running about 140. So I would agree with you. I know I'm one of the few people that's running probably more than the GoPro. So I like 170 degree field of view. I can almost see behind myself.
I kind of like
360. You don't get too much fisheye with that?
I don't mind it. What were you saying, Chuck?
Okay.
Well, I don't know. I lost it, but the fisheye thing, you're looking at the center of the screen anyway. It shouldn't matter.
And all it means is that I can see peripherally more that's above and below and to the sides of me, which I get a lot of usefulness off that information.
Personally, and this is one of the reasons why I actually like 4.3, unlike a lot of people, is I want more vertical field of view.
Okay.
Real quick, Blizzard FPV, if you are having trouble with your Crossfire, please go to my channel and check out my Crossfire playlist. Not saying that it might help you, but maybe it will. So please check that out if you are having issues with Crossfire.
It's worth a watch. It's worth a watch. I've been keeping an eye, and I haven't seen anything specific as far as what his problems are, but I don't know if he's getting fail safes, or maybe he did put it and I just missed it.
I don't spend $1,000 on a build.
I saw that.
Oh, wow. That's premium.
No, he's paying for shipping, bro. He's in Canada.
Everything's jacked up there.
Oh, yeah. That's what Lewis was saying about where he lives. The prices are just ridiculous for the parts. He's very limited what he can get. Oh, okay. Thanks, Blizzard. Hit me up. My email is in I'll put it in chat. Shoot me an email or something, and maybe I can reach out to you after the show or something, and maybe we can get it fixed together, get it figured out.
No power out of the box. Whoa. Is this a full-size Crossfire unit, or is it one of the micros? Everybody, go sign up for all the free shit email lists you can using that email address.
Yeah, it's already out there, so I have a really good spam filter.
Okay, you got the micro. And on what transmitter?
Yeah, that's the big thing.
We're waiting with eager anticipation, Blue.
Well, and what it is, it's going to give me the chance at some point to do a little bit of research and see if I can figure out if anybody else has been having similar problems, because that's the first place I would start. I'm sure he's already looked. The X7.
Do 4 hit the nail on the head. That's what I was going to ask. Is your external module turned on in your QX7? Because that has to be turned on in order for the module to get power. And that might be a dumb question. He might have already done that. I'm just throwing it out there because that's the first thing I would have said. So thank you to Do 4 FPV for throwing that out there.
There's any dumb recommendations, Eric? Anytime you're troubleshooting, I mean, you just start at one end and work your way through it, because a lot of times when people are having problems, it's, oh, the pins don't line up. Okay. Depending on how much they're out of alignment, you can probably just bend them to where you need them, even if you have to Dremel out a little bit of the back of the case. Now,
Careful with that.
Advocating like destroying your shit, but
That's interesting. The pins don't line up. Huh.
I've seen that before from some people, but I don't know what the commonality is. Because, for instance, my X7 plugged right in, no problems.
Were you running another module on your X7 before the Crossfire that maybe bent them? Maybe like an R9 or something?
Huh.
I would hit up what's his name that does all the fixing shit for TVS.
What's his
Mike
name?
Chin.
Yeah.
You need to hit
There
up
you
Mike
go.
Chin, bro.
Oh,
Yeah.
Mike, that's the name I know.
And only because he sees more of these problems than anybody, so he's going to have already worked through some of this with other people and have a much better place to start. Mike's really good. And look, he's also been known to jump on webcam with people so that he can see what's going on as he's talking to you real time. So the guy is super helpful.
Yeah, because my
Send me
TVS
back.
Crossfire Micro, I mean, it lines up like perfectly.
Yeah, mine popped right in. No problem.
Yeah.
Well, I'll keep an eye on that.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah.
I wonder if maybe there's something different in the Micro, or is it something different in the QX7? How old your QX7, if I ask you?
Well, and that's where I would lean, Eric, that there was some minor difference in the X7.
Yeah.
5-0, you come in an hour and a half after it starts.
I know this is supposed to be an hour-long stream, bro.
Yeah, we're just gangbanging now.
You missed the Caddx giveaway. We gave away a Ratel. Like, Josh stood up and danced around half naked. It was great.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Oh,
But yeah,
so you
Eric,
got another
I'm leaning
module.
because look, I've had other people, and here's where I'm going with this. I've seen where other people have been posting on the Crossfire forums who couldn't get a full size to power on with the with the X7. They couldn't get a micro to power on, and what it amounted to was that the case and the way that the Crossfire fit into it, it's like the well was not as deep as it should have been, and it wasn't seating on those pins all the way. Because if they took the back of the case off and plugged it in and turned it on, it read fine.
Ah. So maybe there was a rendition or something they changed in the actual molding of that back case.
Or it was just a bad run. Because, it's not everybody who's having these problems. There's some people that are running the QX7S's, and there's some people that have the really old ones, and none of them seem to be having any problems.
Yeah, that's what I had, just the regular QX7, yeah.
So I would put it at just being an issue with one of the runs. And look, maybe it's not even a case or a well issue. Maybe the prongs aren't long enough.
It's FPV, man.
It sucks
Anything and
because-
everything can and will go wrong.
Well, and it sucks because in a scenario like that, the rest of your transmitter works fine, and your first inclination is going to be stupid fucking crossfire. What the hell?
Yeah.
Yeah, and don't get your head twisted, bro. I mean, there's a reason we all use that shit. It's because it's dependable. So,
I wonder
but, you know, hey, they put out 1,000 units. There's going to be a few bad eggs.
Right.
Is there any way to diagnose whether it's the receiver or the module?
That would be Mike Chin all the way.
It would. The one thing I could tell you to do that would probably point out if it's a problem with the pins, the length, or something would be to take the back off the X7, plug in the crossfire module, and see if it'll power on. Just make sure you don't dump out your damn transmitter when you do it.
Yeah. Yeah, really.
You shouldn't, because everything's screwed in. I'm just saying be careful. But if you take the back off, then you can get those pins seated all the way and see if it makes a difference. Other than that, I can't tell you.
He's saying it was the module, so I guess he sent that module back and got a new one, and the new one fit perfectly.
Okay.
So I guess it was the actual crossfire module itself.
Okay.
Almost makes you wonder if maybe that module was for a different radio.
Yeah.
Why didn't you say that in the first place, Blizz?
I know.
Diagnosing a problem that's fixed. What the hell?
I don't mind. We had a great conversation about crossfire.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's good
cool.
information.
Look, this story changes like every 5 minutes with him.
Are you
Not
sure you're
really.
not flying, bro?
Well, I'm
Good
definitely
shit.
Straight
fine.
up trolling the Noob crew up in here.
Oof.
It's all good information, though. You know, it's all stuff that someone else might come across and have the same issue and be like, huh, okay, well, maybe I just need to send it back and get another one.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, here's the deal with that, too, because it's so easy to overlook the obvious. It's just like Eric, RT Crazer. He was trying to get a Tyro 99 working. Well, in the process of binding it, he had flipped his RXSR into whatever that other mode is. Not S-Bus, whatever that other mode is.
Oh, F-Port or whatever.
Yeah, and it wouldn't bind, and then it's like, oh, it's not working well. And then it was Night Train Mike that figured it out.
You know, and that's just a testament to the troubleshooting process. You put something in or on, or you change something, right? Then what you do is if it doesn't work, you start at the beginning, and one thing at a time, you start double checking it, try something. Check the next item, try it again. Check the next item, and you just keep working your way through till you can't anymore. Blizzard.
And when it works, back it up.
Notice the amount of the super chat also, Josh.
I know.
Do you notice the amount?
I know.
Okay.
Weeds. I got the 2 thumbs
That's
for
great.
you.
Somebody's salty.
Do I sound better, Josh?
All right. Well, we've had Mars trying to get in nonstop.
Still not working.
Blizzard, your contributions have been above and beyond tonight, buddy. I have sent you an email with a special link to a private live stream. I am going to make sure you get your money's worth. And I think we're going to wrap this thing up. It's been awesome sitting here at the gangbang with you guys. Mars, I wish we would have seen more of you. Ed, always fun to have you on, brother.
It's all good.
Hey, and don't forget to check out these guys' channels. I mean, they're all good too. You don't have to watch just mine.
All of them. Make sure you sub, ring the bell all the way across the board. Good people. For you guys that aren't aware, maybe you haven't noticed, Ed is always plugging other pilots on the Facebooks. This guy is an advocate for anybody with sticks. E-Drone, this guy's always putting out really good content. He likes evaluating new things. He likes doing tutorials and DIY stuff. He just kind of likes trying to take you through it and show you everything. So if you haven't been over there, make sure you stop over.
Mars can dance.
And he's black.
Mars can take down a stripper pole, baby. Never get that out.
For high octane asshole puckering footy, go see Chuck. And if you're that bored, can't think of anything else to do, stop by the FPVNoobTube and check out all the activity on the Facebook group. Make sure you hit up the Twitter and get all that. Remember, Chuck wants your pictures so we can start incorporating them into the streams and the Facebook pages and everything. And I think that's where I'm ending tonight.
Remember,
Don't forget this guy.
hey,
Don't forget this
remember,
guy
guys,
right here.
You guys,
This
you
guy
guys
is
have
Oh, master.
He's good at tuning and helping you with your problems, and he is an expert in beta flight, and I would recommend no other.
hey, on the Twitter pictures, make sure that's in it.
All right, guys.
Later, bro.
Happy crashing, everybody. Happy hump day.
Happy hump day.